It's been 72 hours. I think I haven't really been sleeping. Finn is just gone. And the silence in this apartment, God, it's so loud it's making my ears ring. He took everything. I mean everything. His clothes, his stupid collection of board games I always made fun of, even the damn coffee machine. The one we spent an hour arguing playfully over at the store. Who does that? Who just erases themselves? There was no fight, no dramatic exit, no breakup text. Just emptiness. My calls go straight to voicemail, my texts are just green bubbles floating into the void. And my brain, it won't shut up. It just keeps screaming the same question at me, over and over, until I feel like I'm going insane. How the hell did we get here? It wasn't always like this, you know? God, it really wasn't. When I met Finn, it was like breathing for the first time after being underwater for too long. He was solid, grounded. He had this easy laugh that made his whole face crinkle up, and when he looked at me, I felt like the only person in the room. We'd talk for hours about nothing. He'd listen to my stupid work drama. He'd remember the name of that weird indie band I liked. For 2 years, it was good. It was safe. But then, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, things started to change. He got this new project at the firm he works for, something with insane hours and a ton of pressure. And he just switched off. He'd come home and the light would just be gone from his eyes. I'd ask him how his day was, and all I'd get back was a tired sigh and a fine. He stopped asking about mine. He'd still kiss me goodnight, but it was mechanical, you know, a reflex. He was physically there, but he wasn't there. The silence started growing in the apartment, filling up all the spaces where our laughter used to be. And this quiet, it was a sound I knew. My ex, the one before Finn, he did the same thing, the slow fade, the one-word answers. Turns out he was just quietly detaching himself because he'd been sleeping with his coworker for months. So when Finn started pulling away, this primal panic just clawed its way up my throat. Every "I'm just tired, Casey" felt like a lie. Every time he chose to scroll on his phone, instead of talking to me on the couch, felt like a tiny, personal betrayal. I started picking fights, stupid fights about the dishes or him being 5 minutes late just to get a reaction. Anything, but he wouldn't bite. He'd just look at me with these exhausted, sad eyes and say, "I can't do this right now." It felt like I was living with a roommate, not the man I loved. And I told my friend just this. I said, I just need to know he's still in there, that he still cares. I needed to shake him, to make him feel something. I just wanted him to look at me again, really look at me. Honestly, looking back, he pushed me to it. He starved me of any real emotion for so long that I felt like I had to set off a bomb just to see if he'd notice the explosion. The bomb went off at his parents' annual summer barbecue. God, that sounds so dramatic, but that's what it felt like. The sun was out, his dad was telling the same terrible jokes he always does at the grill, and his mom was fussing over everyone. It was so normal, and I hated it. I hated sitting there next to Finn, who was smiling and talking to his cousins, while feeling like there was a 6-foot wall of ice between us. The idea had been a little seed in my head for weeks, a dark, ugly little thing. His brother, Evan, was there. Evan and we had a thing. A stupid, drunken, 2-month-long mistake in college, a full year before I even met Finn. It meant nothing. Finn knew I dated people, obviously, but he didn't know it was his brother. It was our secret, Evan's and mine. One we both agreed was better left buried. But as I sat there, watching Finn give me another one of his polite, distant smiles, that ugly little seed started to sprout. My brain was screaming at me, "Don't do it, Casey. This is insane." But another part of me, the desperate, wounded part, was whispering, "This will work. This will make him see you. He'll get jealous. Jealousy means he cares." I waited for the perfect moment. Evan was telling a story, and I saw my opening. "Oh my God, that reminds me of that disastrous music festival," I laughed, making it sound all light and breezy. I could feel my own heartbeat in my throat. "Evan, you remember that, right? The one where we had to sleep in your car because my tent flooded." Evan froze for a second, a deer in headlights. I didn't look at him, I looked right at Finn. I kept going, the words spilling out of my mouth before I could stop them. God, we were such a mess back then. It's a miracle we survived that semester. I nudged Finn's arm playfully, like this was all just a hilarious trip down memory lane. "Can you believe your brother and I used to be a thing? So weird, right?" Silence. It wasn't a big, dramatic silence. It was a small, dense one, like a black hole that just sucked all the air out of the space around us. Evan was staring at his shoes. Finn's mom, who had been walking by, just stopped, but my eyes were locked on Finn. I was waiting for the explosion. The flash of anger in his eyes, the tightening of his jaw, maybe a quiet tense. "Can I talk to you for a second?" I got nothing. His face just emptied. It wasn't anger, it wasn't shock, it was just blank, like a TV screen switching off. He blinked once slowly. He looked from me to his brother and then back to me. It felt like he was looking right through me. Then, he put his beer down on the picnic table with a soft click. "I'm gonna go get another drink," he said. His voice was perfectly level, chillingly calm, and then he just stood up and walked away. For the rest of the afternoon, he was the perfect son, the perfect brother. He laughed at his dad's jokes. He helped clear the table. He talked to his aunt about her garden. But he never looked at me again. Not once. I tried to catch his eye, tried to go talk to him, but he'd always turn away, or someone would conveniently start a conversation with him. It was the most terrifying performance I had ever seen. He was a ghost at his own family party. And the whole drive home, the silence in the car wasn't empty anymore. It was heavy. It was the sound of something being over. I just didn't know how over it was. I woke up the next morning, and he was already gone for work. That wasn't unusual. His new project had him starting at dawn most days. I remember feeling this knot of dread in my stomach, but I pushed it down. I told myself I was being dramatic. I rehearsed my apology in the shower. I'd make his favorite dinner, we'd sit down, and I'd explain. I'd tell him how lonely I'd been feeling, how I just wanted a reaction, how stupid it was. He'd be mad, for sure. We'd probably have the huge fight I'd been trying to provoke for months, but we'd get through it. We had to. I sent him a text around noon. "Hey, hope your day is going okay. Thinking of you, Zoe." No reply. I sent another one around 4 p.m. "Want me to pick anything up for dinner on my way home?" The little "delivered" sign under the blue bubble was my only response. My heart started to beat a little faster. When I got home, the apartment felt weirdly quiet. I called his name. "Finn, you home?" Nothing. I walked into the living room, and that's when I saw it. The empty space on the bookshelf where his collection of sci-fi paperbacks used to be. My blood went cold. I walked, almost like a zombie, into the bedroom. His side of the closet was empty. Hangers, just bare wire hangers, were all that was left. I ran to the bathroom. His toothbrush was gone. His deodorant, his shampoo, the face wash I always complained smelled like pine needles. All gone. It was so methodical, so clean. He hadn't just packed a bag and left. He had systematically removed every trace of himself from our home. The photos of his family were gone from the mantelpiece. His laptop wasn't on the desk. His ugly, worn-out sneakers weren't by the door. I started to panic, a real, ugly, can't-breathe kind of panic. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely unlock it. I called him. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I sent a frantic stream of texts. "Finn, where are you? What is happening? Please just talk to me. This is insane." Then I went to his Instagram profile, thinking maybe he'd posted something. The page was gone. User not found. My heart fell into my stomach. He had blocked me. Facebook blocked. He had cut me out, completely. There was no note on the counter, no angry email, no final, devastating text message. He didn't give me the satisfaction of a fight. He didn't give me anything to argue with, to apologize for, to bargain with. He just vanished. He treated me like I didn't exist. And I realized, standing there in the middle of our half-empty apartment, that I would have preferred him screaming at me. I would have preferred him throwing a plate against the wall. Anything would have been better than this silent, calculated, complete erasure. It was the ultimate punishment. I wanted his attention so badly, and he responded by making me nothing. For the next hour, I just called Jess, my voice a high-pitched, hysterical mess. I told her everything, the words tumbling out of me in a chaotic jumble. How I got home, how his stuff was gone, how he blocked me everywhere. I'm pretty sure I was sobbing so hard she could barely understand me. I was expecting the usual, you know? The "oh my god, he's such an asshole." Or, "he can't just do that. That's crazy." The kind of blind, unconditional support you get from your best friend when your world is ending. But I didn't get that. Instead, there was just this long, heavy silence on the other end of the line. It was so long that I actually pulled the phone away from my ear to see if the call had dropped. "Jess, are you there?" I asked, my voice cracking. "I'm here," she said. Her tone wasn't angry. It was worse, it was weary, like she'd had this conversation with me 100 times already in her head. "Well, can you believe he would do this? Just leave." "No, no, no, nothing," I cried, desperate for her to validate my sense of outrage. She sighed. It was a deep, tired sound. "Casey, what did you expect him to do?" The question hit me like a slap in the face. "What do you mean, what did I expect?" I expected him to talk to me, to yell at me, to be a normal human being, not a ghost. "A normal human being," she repeated, and now there was a little edge in her voice. "You told him in front of his entire family that you slept with his brother. You didn't do it to be honest, you did it to hurt him. You used his brother like a weapon, Casey. You didn't just test his love, you tried to humiliate him in the safest place he has. That wasn't a mistake. That was cruel." Her words were so direct, so sharp, they cut right through my hysteria and left me stunned. I was just trying to get his attention," I whispered, the excuse sounding pathetic even to my own ears. "And you got it," Jess said, her voice softening a little but still firm. "This is his attention, Casey. This silence is him screaming at you. You crossed a line, not just a normal relationship line, like a forgetting an anniversary line. You went for the jugular. What you did, it's the kind of thing people don't come back from. You can't unsay that. You can't apologize that away. It's done." I had nothing to say. Because for the first time, in the cold, clear light of her words, I couldn't twist the narrative anymore. I couldn't make it about his distance or my loneliness. She was right. It wasn't a test. It was an execution, and I was the one holding the axe. The next week was a blur of pacing around the apartment and staring at my phone, willing it to light up with his name. It never did. The silence he'd left behind was starting to feel solid, like a physical presence in the room. I started cleaning, mostly because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. I threw out old magazines, I scrubbed the floors, I organized the pantry. I just needed to feel in control of something, anything. That's when I decided to tackle the shared desk in the little nook of our living room. It was a mess of bills, junk mail, and his work papers. I was just going to sort it all into a box for him, a pathetic little piece offering maybe. As I was gathering a stack of his notebooks, my fingers brushed against a thick, cream-colored envelope tucked underneath his keyboard. It wasn't sealed. My heart started pounding. I knew I shouldn't, it was his, but I couldn't stop myself. My hands were shaking as I pulled out the card inside. It was a birthday card. My birthday is next month. The front had a goofy cartoon of two otters holding hands. It was exactly the kind of cheesy thing he'd pick out. I opened it. His familiar, slightly messy handwriting filled the inside. "Casey, happy birthday. I know things have been quiet lately. That's on me. This project has been kicking my ass, but that's not an excuse for being a shitty boyfriend. The truth is, I've just been trying to get my head straight because I've been thinking a lot about us. About what's next. I booked us a weekend at that little inn by the sea you're always showing me pictures of. For the weekend after your birthday. I want us to just get away from everything, turn our phones off, and just be us again. I miss us. Maybe it's time we started talking about the next step. No pressure, but I think you're my person. I love you, you idiot. Finn." I read it once, then twice. Then a third time, the words blurring through the tears that were now streaming down my face. A raw, guttural sob ripped out of my chest. It wasn't a cry of sadness. It was a sound of pure, agonizing self-hatred. He wasn't distant because he was cheating. He wasn't quiet because he'd stopped loving me. He was stressed and overwhelmed, and he was planning our future. While I was plotting my little psychodrama, my sick little loyalty test, he was booking a trip to the place I'd dreamed of going. While I was manufacturing a crisis to feel wanted, he was quietly thinking about taking the next step with me. The card wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a message from the past. It was proof. It was irrefutable, tangible proof that I had taken the most beautiful, trusting thing in my life, and I had, with careful, deliberate cruelty, smashed it into a million pieces. For no reason at all, so here I am, back where I started, sitting on the couch in this empty apartment. The birthday card is on the coffee table. It feels radioactive. I can't touch it, but I can't bring myself to throw it away either. My phone is in my hand, the screen lit up. I have a message typed out to him. It's the 100th one today. This one is different from the angry, pleading ones before. It just says, "I found the card. I'm so sorry. I've broken everything." My thumb hovers over the send button, but I can't press it. It's pointless. It would just disappear into the digital abyss like all the others. My mind feels like a broken machine, stuck in a loop. 1 second, I'm drowning in a wave of self-loathing so intense it makes me feel sick. I'm a monster, a manipulative, broken person who destroys good things. He was planning a future with me, and I repaid him with public humiliation. I deserve this silence. I deserve to be alone. But then, just as I'm about to accept the blame, this ugly, defensive anger bubbles up inside me. It's a venomous whisper in my head. Well, if he had just talked to me, none of this would have happened. If he hadn't shut me out for months, I wouldn't have gotten so desperate. He's not innocent in this. He made me feel crazy. It's the same old excuse, the one that led me here, and even though I know it's bullshit, a part of me still clings to it because the alternative, accepting that this is all my fault, is just too painful to bear. I close the message draft, and with a sense of grim inevitability, I open Instagram. My fingers move on their own, a sick muscle memory. I go to Jess's profile, then to her following list. I find Evan's account. It's public, and there it is. A new picture posted 3 hours ago. It's a group shot from a hiking trip. Evan is there, a few of their mutual friends, and in the back, unmistakable even from a distance, is Finn. He isn't smiling, but he's there. He's outside. He's with people. He's living a life that I am no longer a part of. And I just sit here, staring at the photo, zooming in on his blank face, caught in this endless, agonizing loop of my own making. Cursing myself, cursing him, and knowing, deep down, that I'll probably wake up tomorrow and do it all over again.